or adjustments, so we go back and we ask for that number, right?
Taxpayers.
Is it in rear?
Day outside.
Yes. Yeah, right. We have the expenditure and then we get the
But that's the
cash.
special ed support, right?
Yeah, special ed. This is AEA.
I know.
This is AEA, has nothing to do with us.
Okay.
I got you.
Down here,
Yes.
special ed deficit. Yeah, so in 19, we had a deficit of 381. 20 was 507. 21, we estimate
Interesting.
that we're gonna end in the year 500 negative. And so this is, again, this is just based on what is in the past. So we have to budget a number. So we're budgeting 500 for the next year.
Hey, Jason,
The revenue, now this is AEA. This has
I'm unable to turn my video on.
So what is that there?
That's what I support that is our area education agencies.
You have a slide, Jason?
So we're paying them that amount of money,
The state said that you're-
plus we're paying this down here. So our real special ed costs are like $1 million a year.
Oh.
Between the AEA and our special ed deficit.
This comes straight from the state. That has, we have nothing, that's just an allocation of the state.
Right, but they still take it out of our budget,
We never,
but it's out of our tax dollars.
or state aid.
Well, regardless, it's a revenue pot that they're taking that money out of. So I guess what I'm saying is our real special ed costs need to be looked at differently because our special ed is $1 million a year.
Our special ed, you need to look at CAR and the special ed supplement to get the real actual cost. We have a whole end of the year report.
Yeah.
You show all revenues, all expenses, and that's, you need to, I'll send you that.
All right, well, Tom, when you get it, call me and I'll come and sit down.
It's interesting.
Well, I think it is,
That
yeah.
takes special ed, that takes consideration, yes, everything is special ed. So, and that's what it was, let me, I'll send that.
Thank you, thank you. Here, give me the back.
I'm converted. Oh, yeah.
Hi, guys.
Oh,
I'm over here asking questions about finance. Figured I'd do it before the meeting.
We ended with special education.
Well, our special ed, well, our special ed costs are really closer to $1 million, not half.
Oh, they're actually more than that.
Yeah, I mean, but if you don't look at,
I'm gonna give him the special ed supplement,
Oh.
for his end of the year report.
No.
So he can get a better idea.
Policy princess is good. She's getting out of whack.
hey, Lindsay.
Hi, Jeff, how are you?
Good, good,
I
good.
was gonna say though, how many months have you been coming to meetings? I never saw you bring a chocolate frosty to anybody on the board. Anybody.
You know, that disappoints me too, because I like you the most.
So you're always gonna have a cherry on top.
I always think that there's gonna be chocolate frosties and fries.
I'll tell you what, it's easier to do in the winter. I can tell you that, it's easier to do in the winter, it's cold outside.
Yeah, it's a good
We
point.
got new parking places up here in the winter, we just get that door open out, we can park in the
Are you
driveway.
parked there again?
Now somebody else did, I couldn't park there.
That's probably Jason, yeah.
Oh, yours? It's okay, then I know it's yours. It's your truck, I know whose it is now.
All right, let's get, I'm gonna go ahead.
You're about a minute early.
No, I'm not. I'm 6 o'clock on my phone.
I guess,
That's what I'm doing.
okay.
So 6 o'clock, I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. Before we do roll call, I just want to let everybody know Tyler Polk is on Zoom and he has to be off at 7:30 tonight. And we've got a couple items kind of later in the agenda that I really want Tyler to be a part of the conversation. So I'm gonna speed this meeting up a little bit through some of the early sessions, just because I want to make sure we have time to get to those later topics and I want Tyler to be involved as well. So just an FYI, in case you see me a little pushy, it's just because I want to get this thing moving. So, all right, go ahead, Gail, on roll call.
Tyler?
Here. Here.
Present. Jeff?
Yes,
John?
here.
Deb? And Andrew?
Here. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
So, second?
Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, agenda passed, and we have the high school student council members here today for a public forum presentation. Hello.
Hi.
Right over there is perfect. Yeah, anywhere you want.
Hello, I am Lacey Moore. I'm one of
the student council co-sponsors, and I just wanted to say thank you all so much for all that you have done for us this year, and we really appreciate you letting the student council members come and just kind of give a little bit of the student perspective, and thank you guys from their perspective. So I will turn it over to Abigail Stout and Keith Gideon.
Hi, I'm Abigail Stout.
I'm Keith Gideon. Today we're going to be sharing with you some of our thoughts on behalf of the student council and just the student population as a whole.
Okay, so again, we just want to say thank you. This year would not have been successful or run as smoothly as it did without you guys and your time and dedication. Some things we'd like to highlight.
Safety measures. We were so grateful to be able to feel safe in an area where you usually wouldn't be able to feel safe during a global pandemic. The mask mandate, the extra cleaning, just thank you for all of it.
And then in-person or remote learning options throughout the whole entire year. We actually were both remote at one point, and honestly thought it was a really great experience, especially for a school that's not necessarily designed to be online. Wednesdays were really beneficial. Being able to have that one-on-one contact with teachers was really nice.
And the teachers were just really flexible throughout the entire school year.
Also, extracurriculars, like who doesn't love those? Those were great to be able to be a part of this year, despite the hardships. And then our schedules.
Yes, which is our next point. Longer classes. We were so grateful for the longer classes this year, having 4 periods instead of 8. Really allowed us to focus in on the topics we were learning and helped us to retain knowledge so much better. I've been all over the US in different schools, and this is by far my favorite schedule.
And that consistency was really nice. Having that 4 days a week, knowing exactly like what classes were going to be what day, helped with simplifying organization. And also anticipating extracurricular activities. You could be like, oh, I have track on Thursday night, so I can do my homework Wednesday, not have to worry about it.
Yeah, the homework load was much more manageable this year. And open campus, of course, we all love that, but that is not the main reason we love the schedule this year.
Yeah.
And then we can go to our next one. So here's just some quotes that we got from other student council members, to just kind of reiterate our points. This way.
Yeah, and I've heard from people in the student body as well, how much they loved the schedule this year.
We also wanted to talk about parking lot issues. We understand that this necessarily isn't our biggest priority, but wanted to call attention to it.
Our group member Kylie is actually at a golf meet today. Yay, extracurriculars. And she formed this part of the presentation, but we are aware of problems.
So there really isn't enough parking for sporting events and some hours during the school hours as well. Many people have had to park on the grass during sporting events. So we just wanted to call attention to that and potentially adding a parking lot in the future.
Yeah. Sooner rather than later, but of course, we don't absolutely need a parking lot. It would just be very, very nice. The one-way traffic out of the athletic parking lot has also been an issue because the students don't really know how to drive. And then there are the parents who know how to drive, who are coming through the parking lot line and trying to pick their kiddos up. And then it's just confusion and.
Yeah, and that's also, mixed in with the pickup drop-off lane, which has kind of been chaotic this year trying to get out, especially.
Not enough stalls to park when coming in the middle of the day. A lot of students don't have classes at the beginning of the day or at the very end of the day. So the middle of the day is kind of where our parking lot reaches its full capacity.
Yeah, and so we were thinking about potentially, because teachers have rooms that are closer to our parking lot. So potentially like having them designated to the north side and us designated to the south side could help that, even if it's just 10 stalls, it would be.
And also, we have talked to Mr. Vanderpool about the situation, and we do realize that there isn't room in the budget at this moment in time. However, we just really did want to speak on our concerns about this and just let you know.
And again, here's another quote by student council member to kind of reiterate her point.
Again, just thank you so much for hearing us out and being here today.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes,
Thanks.
thanks for the time.
I have heard the same comments from people who thought at the beginning of the school year that block scheduling would be the worst thing ever. Totally love it, so.
All right, admin reports, Lindsay?
Ashley, are you there?
I am.
Yep. Hey, you want to talk a little bit about the return to learn updates as far as what we got going from some different shot clinics and things?
Yeah. Well, if you've seen on the news lately,
Oops, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Tyler's giving me the thumbs up. Anybody in the
Got
room?
it, Jason?
Just a second. We still can't hear you, Ashley.
Can you hear me, Ashley?
I can, Tyler.
Okay. Well then,
Tyler, can you hear us?
yeah,
Yep.
can you hear
Can
me?
you say something?
I am.
He's gonna hear him.
Oh, this is gonna be something. You know, thanks.
Try now.
Can you hear me now?
Hey!
Yeah.
Ah,
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, as you've probably seen on the news, getting the vaccine rollout to 12 to 15-year-olds has been in the works. And about an hour ago now, the FDA approved the vaccine for 12 to 15-year-olds. But now, and then I made my quick call to Story County Public Health, and they're still waiting for the CDC to approve it. Likely, they will approve it on Wednesday. They have a meeting scheduled for Wednesday with some more information. So our plan as of right now is to continue with our May 12th, which is Wednesday. Everybody that is 16 years or older that had signed up should have received an email from me today with verifying their appointment time, and we'll have that clinic. If the CDC pushes it through and we get it approved before when we start the clinic at 3:00, then we could have 12 to 15-year-olds be vaccinated at our Wednesday clinic. We also have Public Health has been holding May 19th, since this was on the horizon and not sure about the timing. So next Wednesday, they're holding that date for us. So if it gets approved, then we could run another clinic, and I'd have another sign up ready to go and send that out for 12 to 15-year-olds. The nice thing about that, if that does, that will likely happen. Our June 9th booster, that second dose clinic date will work for both of those, because we chose not to have it 3 weeks out. You actually have 42 days to get your second shot. With June 3rd being our last day of school, we didn't want to have any kids have any issues with taking finals and any side effects and things like that. So we pushed it out to June 9th. But we should, if we do have the 19th as a clinic date, then the 9th will work for both of those clinics as the booster clinic.
One of the things that Ashley does is she comes to all of ours. We've been remote most of the time, but when we're in person, she comes and does the remote also for our administrative meetings. And one of the topics that we had at our administrative meeting is, should we do something with these shot clinics? You know, the 16 and older has been out there for a while. And then now they're going with the 12 and older. There are some schools that are choosing to do it. Some schools are choosing not to do it. But I want to recognize that Ashley and Laura and Jenna and Carrie and some of them that have put those shot clinics together, they have done an outstanding job. They are probably one of the best that you can have at getting those set up. So I appreciate what they're doing and hopefully our thoughts are, that's Pfizer, by the way, isn't it, Ashley?
Yep, it is.
So it's not the, I think Johnson & Johnson, there were some concerns about blood clotting and things. Is there anything else, Ashley, that you wanted to mention as far as mitigation?
That is all I have.
Okay, we're gonna put Vic on hold for a second because he's gonna do the commencement plans, but I wanna shift over to Stacy. And Stacy, do you wanna just give a little brief update on the, I wanna make sure I say it right, the kindergarten prep and what we're looking at doing there?
So when we did kindergarten and kindergarten prep sign up in January, what we were starting to notice is we had a pretty large number of people who were requesting our kindergarten prep program for next year. I think there's a couple big reasons for that. I think we have several kiddos who maybe chose not to go to preschool due to health concerns, and then we have several children who had been remote. So maybe they were in a remote preschool section. And so I think because of that, and some current, just our normal number of parents who wanted K-Prep, then we have about right now 23 kids who are wanting that program. So Mr. Beecher and I had met several times and talked through various scenarios, but what we found from a funding perspective, if we were able to increase to 2 sections of kindergarten prep and do a morning section and an AM, we would be able to kind of realize the funding for all 23 and be able to meet the needs of all 23 students. And at the same time, be able to kind of have our preschools at max capacity as well, which was kind of going to be maybe a possibility of where to put some of our additional 5-year-olds. So that is, I think you'll see that as a possible increase. So Veronica Bresnahan has been our kindergarten prep teacher for the past 2 years. Her current contract is a 0.675. And so we were just asking for an increase of 0.325. So she would have those 2 sections. The funding for that, we have some categorical fundings through early literacy that would be able to cover that funding for this next year. So it wouldn't be funding that we don't have available.
And that's in the consent agenda, right?
Yeah, we want to make sure that you're aware of what we're looking at. I think that because of maybe COVID and some of those things, that Stacy and I have talked about this quite a bit. And I think that we know that we have categorical funding that can only be used for certain things there. So what we, in 23, we couldn't do that in one section. That's just not logical. You were gonna say something though, Jeff?
So the lady or the teacher now goes to one full-time then?
Yeah.
Okay, and was she on a benefit program before? Is that?
Yes, she was doing 0.675 under a teacher contract. And then she was also doing an associate contract for the remainder of her day, so she was already on benefits. So the increase is just the difference between her salary as an associate and her salary as.
And your numbers in preschool are going up too, aren't they?
So one of the solutions that Lindsay and I had one point thrown around, we had about 6 openings in our afternoon section of preschool. And so we had thought, well, maybe we can have give some of those 5-year-olds, especially the ones who hadn't attended our preschool, that option. And just with a variety of different things. In the meantime, though, we've had 4 kiddos come that are now sitting on a waiting list. So I think we can fill that program out as well.
Great.
Do you guys have any questions about that? I want to make sure I know I think I maybe talked to Andrew the other night when we were doing the agenda setting, but any questions on that?
I think it's great news.
It's great news.
One other thing before we go to Vic, I know you're waiting here, Vic, for the commencement. Is Tim Pizzetti on? He didn't know if he was going to be able to make it, so I don't. Okay, I just wanted to, and he said that he would put out some information, but what's going to happen is our conference, I went to the Raccoon River Conference on, I don't know, it's Wednesday, it doesn't matter the day. They are going to, for the conference activities, they're going to have the adult price is going to be $6. So just wanted to let you know, I'll probably ask, I know it's.
Versus what?
So
It was 5 before, I think.
Oh.
We don't want
You want boycott?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Anyway, I just wanted to let you know. Vic, are you there? I'm sorry to put you on hold. The next thing we have is that commencement plans update. Can you give us a little bit of update there?
Yeah, absolutely. Things are moving forward. We're really excited. We're only about 8 days away, so it's coming right up, and we'll get through this week. And then can everyone hear me? Okay.
Yep, we got you.
Okay.
I
Seniors,
started to sweat when you said that.
yeah, I feel the same. I'm a
They
little.
coming too.
We both have seniors. It's a little nerve wracking right now. A lot of tears from mama at home right now, so it's been a little nerve wracking. So. I'm ready to get rid of the piles of stuff for graduation receptions and get that out of the house. And but we're excited, so I'm sure everyone is. Ceremonies just rolling along just fine. We're gonna have an indoor ceremony. We have our guests, our class speakers picked out already. Andrew and I spoke earlier in the week about speakers representing the board, and we're actually going to be starting a new tradition this year. So Andrew is going to do the opening remarks, and then we're going to have a special guest alumni that is going to do the closing remarks, which we think is kind of cool. Bob Jensen from the class of 1961. So Bob is going to come in and kind of do a welcome to the club. You're now one of us, and if you don't know Bob, he's a great ambassador for Gilbert and our community. So we're really excited to add that. And it's always fun when you can have a goofy year where you can add new traditions and try new things. So we're excited that the ceremony is going to be inside. Positivity rates are looking great. We're sitting at a rolling average of around, anywhere from 3.5 to 3.9% positivity for the county. And so things are actually looking really, really good. And yeah, we're excited to get going. So.
Any questions for Vic on any? Go ahead.
No, I think you had this in your notes, but just for others to hear. Don't think that there's a limit on the number of people you can bring.
Vic, you want to answer that one?
Or is there?
No, there's not. We're going to have an open graduation, and we just ask families to be thoughtful about who they invite. We're also going to live stream it. So it'll be available for families at home. They can watch it at home. That's been something that I hope that, we continue. And I want to mention to the board that as we move forward, the live streaming option, whether it's a pandemic or not, has been a great thing, I think. We get emails and phone calls all the time about family members that were able to watch something and they normally couldn't, from all over the country. And for the fact that parents work and travel and they don't have to miss events. So I hope that is something that we can continue, and we can even look at, possibly adding a stipend for the people that are doing the live streaming, because a lot of them are just doing it for free out of the goodness of their hearts and taking time out of their day. So it will be live streamed also. And so, I think our gym holds over 2,000, and plus some seats on the floor. So I think we should be plenty good with masks required and, and move forward in a more typical graduation ceremony under a pandemic. So.
Thank you.
Vic, on the graduation rehearsal day, are you taking seniors around to each of the buildings so that they can walk through the halls or whatever it is that they do?
Yeah, we do that. That's a tradition that has been going on here at Gilbert for a long time. So we have graduation practice the Friday before graduation, and then we load up the seniors and we take them around for a tour of the buildings. They wear their cap and gowns, and they, all the students come out in the hallways and cheer for them. And it's it's one of my favorite traditions around graduation. So we're going to be doing that again.
Good. Awesome.
Questions?
I don't want to talk about it.
Nice job.
Good job, Vic.
Anyone else have, administrators have anything that they'd like to add? Okay.
All right, announcements, celebrations. It looks like we're all going to get recognized for school board.
Thank you.
Thank you
Some
very
of us
much.
twice, some of us twice, I'm just saying.
And when you leave, take a.
Oh, you don't get 2 flowers though, Deb.
I'll get yours for you, Tyler.
And just an FYI, the board, staff appreciation day was this week. And so the board gave staff the same flower. Everybody received a pot of flowers. So that's awesome. And
Any administrators have anything that they'd like to add for announcements or celebrations? Okay.
Board reports, Lindsay.
Yeah, we have the situation, whoops, I thought I don't spill my water here. We have the situation where the annual employee recognition is on Thursday, what will happen is, some of you have participated in that before. I believe that we asked 2 board members to come in and hand out the years of service. They get certain different types of things for that. And there's a meal before that. I think that, I don't know what is the meal, Carrie, do you know?
I'm not quite sure that we have that totally.
Okay, we will have a meal. And then what they'll do is they'll go into the auditorium, we'll have the recognition of the staff. After that, we'll come back out in the commons and have cake, punch, and any of the retirees will be out there. So, and that's open to the public, the portion from 3 to 5 in the commons.
Do you know which board members need to be there now, or we'll just figure that out at a later date?
Just as long as we have a couple there. I mean, whatever you want to do, Andrew.
Yep, no, we'll get it figured out.
Yeah, you don't have another meeting before then, so.
Okay, well,
However you wanna.
Yeah, shoot an email.
I have a conflict that morning, Andrew, the meeting I'll have to be at. So
Okay.
I will not be able to do that. I apologize.
I can be there. There's one, and Jeff will be there too, because he had
I'm
another.
gonna be in Florida.
I knew it. I knew it, some state.
Debbie will do it.
Deb's there, Deb and I.
I like that. I like
Good.
it.
Future board meetings and Zoom link. As many of you know, right now, we do a live Zoom link for our meetings because we do not have our meetings open to the public. Now that we have opened our meetings back up to the public, we have had some discussion of possibly going back to what we did prior to COVID, was just record the meetings and then put them on YouTube and not provide a live Zoom link for the audience per se. Did I hit on that right, Gail? So I guess the discussion would be, whether or not we want to continue with the live Zoom link, or if something, we just kind of want to go back to just recording our board meetings and then posting them on YouTube.
Is there any pros and cons to it, Andrew?
I mean, the only con I would think is Mr. Holton over there just running wild and trying to get everything up and running and active.
I think if we keep doing this, we gotta get some equipment.
Yeah,
You can't keep doing it like that.
Yeah, it's quite.
You gotta have extras
this room
and
is
stuff
not
like that.
set up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because remember before we'd always go up there and hit the play button or, hit the record button.
Oh, I remember those days.
Again, I don't, the problem is as soon as we have an error, it just seems like we have issues coming. And if we're just giving ourselves more likely chance to have an error throughout the meeting. If people want to come sit, they're more than welcome to come watch our board meetings anytime.
Yeah, probably not a real big difference.
I know. Deb, you got a comment?
My question would be just if board members couldn't attend a meeting, is Zoom an option for that? Or would that be just back to call in? I don't foresee.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to keep the Zoom option available for board members. Tyler, tonight, obviously Jeff's never in the same country as us, it seems like. So and he can attend anywhere. So I mean, now again, that's back to putting work on Jason's lap, but I personally like to keep that open if we could.
How does that recording work, Jason? Does that make any difference if we're zooming, and should you just be live, or it makes no difference?
It's another computer because you want to see people on the Zoom, right? So it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andrew, one of the things, I'm sorry, Jason, I didn't mean to catch up. One of the things that we talked about in our administrative meeting with administrators, and they can sure chime in here, they like the fact of being able to Zoom. But I know, like Stacy tonight, she said, hey, instead I have some things that I'd like to say in person, so she came in person. But didn't you guys think that the gist of our conversation is they like the ability to be able to Zoom in, and if they need to be here, they will sure be here. I mean, especially if they're making a presentation or something.
But it's optional for them. I mean, I think it's awesome that they come when they should, but they are here every other night probably for activities, and as long as it's something.
I think that was the whole thought, Deb, is if you're the one that is on for a presentation, then you want to be here. It's just easier.
Yeah.
But if not, if you can Zoom, that would be nice.
Right. Yeah, because we can get what we need to, Lindsay. Yeah.
And I think Jeff is right. I mean, we are pretty archaic here with the technology for this room. We maybe looking at something that maybe.
Why don't we table, why don't you bring us back some ideas?
Yeah, because we would love.
With
to have a little more
equipment, I mean,
technology.
if we can make your life easier, I'm okay doing this.
Yeah, and again, I think for my mind, Zoom's gonna be here to stay.
Yeah,
For
and
board
I love
members
it
and
for
admin.
I love it for the administrators. I mean,
Yeah.
they work enough hours some days, most days, sorry.
So yeah,
Just talking about.
okay.
So the idea would be thinking Zoom the meetings and then record them and put them up there.
That's
So we'd still have the YouTube live.
correct.
And then record it for.
Yep. And again, it'd be public is more than welcome to attend anytime they would want. And, yeah, we have the meetings up.
But I guess while you're looking at equipment, you could give us all options too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we just kind of table this and go forward.
But the YouTube is live then, Jason?
It would be, yes.
Oh, the YouTube would be live? Okay.
That's what we did before.
Okay,
was
yeah.
Just start streaming
Perfect.
YouTube and then we record that YouTube video for
Got it.
people that couldn't attend at the time.
Nope,
Okay.
that works.
Yeah, so let's do that. Let's just table it and bring us
Yeah.
some stuff.
We just added Zoom to be able to have that interaction with
Yeah.
public forum and administrators.
Okay. Well, you tell us whatever would be best for you. We'll kind of listen to you. You kind of hear what we want and what we want to do, and then you maybe come back to us with some thoughts and ideas on how to make it work, make it easier for everybody. So, but I do think we need some more technology.
Andrew, real quick question. I'm just curious, how many are on right now, just that are participating, not from the staff, but on the other? Can you tell?
We have one attendee on Zoom and then I don't know YouTube, but give me a few minutes here. So.
I was thinking thousands, but I guess I'm a little off.
We're up against the boys here pretty quick, so.
Up against the board.
Yeah.
Those numbers are wrong.
Yeah, we need some more technology.
All right, go ahead. You can.
All right, you keep looking. We'll come back to that, Tyler. I'm gonna keep moving forward, okay? I'll let them jump in on that. Well, should you have anything else on that, Tyler? We lose him?
No, I'm here. We're good.
All right. All right, old business. Deb, maybe you want to give a quick update on some of these second readings?
Yeah, I'll just do a real quick one here, because as you know, these are the second readings of a whole bunch of policies that we reviewed on part of a scheduled basis. We found no material, like no notable differences. And we would move then that we would approve approve the second reading and waive third. Unless anybody has any questions.
No, I'll
or
second
anything
that.
like to pull up. Oh, can I move that? Yeah. Did I
Yeah,
move
yeah,
that?
go
Okay, sorry.
Now, I want to ask a question. Are you doing 601, 2, and 3, and 4?
Yeah.
All the policies together right now?
That would be the option. They're all fall under the
Yep.
same criteria of it.
So move, or I guess.
I did. I'm just gonna vote that.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? All right, motion passed. Third reading is waived on all those policies. Construction update. Do we have Sam?
Can I
Oh,
interrupt before you start?
Okay, go ahead.
Policy 6.
six.
People are watching YouTube.
Yeah, I was close with my thousands. A little off.
We're gonna have to wait for Jeff singing. before we Get our numbers up.
Adam and Sam, you got an update on construction?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. Really no action required tonight. There are 2 CCDs for some changes that we sent change orders out. The contractor didn't get them signed and sent back to get action on the agenda for tonight. So they will be forthcoming next month, along with their pay applications and their final documents for acceptance. The athletic fields and the areas around them were seeded by JM. Let's see, they started, I think, the day after the last board meeting.
Yep.
What we need now is some warm weather so seed can germinate. They've been out a couple times to take a look at it. It's been irrigated, and irrigation is providing the moisture. We just need some warm temperatures now.
Hey, Adam, I had a question for you on the change orders that you guys put in, that we're looking at now. What are those dealing with? Is it new construction or old construction, or what is that?
So it's areas where we tied into existing construction. And I'll say the existing conditions led to these changes. So the slopes in the areas that we were supposed to tie into were at different elevations, which then required us to take out more pavement so that all the ADA slopes were compliant with the code.
Quick update too on the ball fields. I walked out, I saw Jason and his crew was out there one day and I was driving by, so I swung in and just talked to him for a bit. Very passionate about the fields. He said he's been stopping by there almost every day to just personally walk them. And he just said, Andrew, we'll get these up and running this year. He said, he was very proud of the fact that we chose them as a contractor, said thank you probably 15 times to me in that conversation. And so he's taking a lot of pride, I think, in those ball fields. So it was kind of neat to see. And I have all the faith in the world that he'll get it done. So
Especially from where we work.
Yep.
And I think Brent Randolph, our new grounds person, is doing a great job. He's really working hard. We've had Iowa Irrigation up and they've been working to make sure our irrigation system is running right. Of course, now's a challenging time with water prices to be irrigating, but hey, we got to have grass on there. And I would agree exactly with what Andrew said. Boy, you talk to Jason and he is fired up about trying to get this thing ready to go. And he wants to get things going. So good person to have in there.
Yep.
I would just mimic both of those comments. Story Construction doesn't do a whole lot of work with JM lawn care. And I would mimic exactly what Andrew and Lindsay just said, is that he is very passionate and very on top of getting this in a position where the district will benefit from it, as well as everybody else, kids included, for playing on those surfaces this season.
Adam, anything else? Sam, on the construction piece?
I do not.
I don't either.
Okay, well then we will just move right ahead.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night. Thanks.
Deb, first reading of pretty much every policy in the book, it looks like right there. But
Yep. So as you can see on your board packet, oh, there it is. So there's a document here similar to what we had the last time. I just bunched them up now. We did some 400, 500, 600 series, as well as I think 8 and 9, just a few of them.
I have included the actual side-by-sides in the Dropbox.
Oh, perfect.
So
Perfect.
if they wanted to look at.
Yeah, so you can look at those details if you'd like, before the next time we meet. What we've done here is in this first section, all of these policies had no notable differences. In some cases, I will tell you, there's just a fill-in that was required, and so I've listed that off onto the right. There are, I think there's 5, if you kind of scroll down, there's a page break. 6 policies down below a little further that do actually represent some change. Either it's 405.2R1 is a new policy that outlines some administrative rules for licensed employee qualifications. The next one, 409.2E1, this is one that expired March 31st, we need to delete it. Another policy we don't need, IASB offered, but we don't need it, and then a couple of revisions. So I would maybe just ask that in the meantime. I think if you want to focus on some, those would be the ones I would start with, because those did have some notable changes. The others were not. Last thing I will say, we have deliberately pulled out some sections, open enrollment. The other one is, I think there was one about truancy, remind me now for all this, all of a sudden I lost another one, but there's a few of them that are bigger topics that we would like as a board to take a deeper dive in later this summer or next. So those are just being held back. We're not putting any of these through the roll. Open enrollment, did I forget the other? Why the other one just kind of escaped me, the other larger category.
as we're reading through these, again, we're just trying to get the masses kind of put aside so we can have some time and effort as a committee and as a board to go through the remaining ones that have just a deeper dive into them. So the ones we're kind of putting forth today is really kind of the ones we're just starting to kind of check off the list.
Yeah,
So
going forward after we
very
get
few
through,
differences.
yeah, after we get through a bulk of these, you'll probably look to see less than 10 policies that we would discuss on a regular basis. In some cases, maybe less.
Yep.
Yeah, as I was looking at this, I was questioning whether a 603.7 should have been on here.
Yeah, there was one that was supposed to be on here, and I'll be honest, I took the notes during the board meeting, and then I had some questions about my interpretation of those notes. And so I just chose to hold that for the next meeting, I think.
Oh, okay,
So,
sounds good.
just because I didn't want to get it on the wrong side.
It's in the packet, because I thought it was.
See what you think, but yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Any questions for Deb or I on that? Like I said, it's just first reading.
Yep.
But go through it, questions, let us know. Next item is the approval of the 2021 graduating seniors list.
So moved.
Or it all. Where's-
Yeah, so we take one off. So did you make a
I made a
motion?
motion.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Seniors are granted graduating rights. That is. Next item, 2021 year-end career and tech ed advisory council report. As you saw, there's a report in there, giving some of the board members and stuff and kind of a summary of what the council has gone through this last year and some additional items on there as well.
Do you need a motion for that?
Yeah.
Yep, I'll make a motion to approve it.
Sorry.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. All right, we are going to take a short break here. Is that correct, Gail? As we're going to go into a closed session here.
Do you want me to read it?
Should we read it? We read this now?
No.
Wait, let's get it cleaned up here before then we'll read that and then we'll go into closed session. So. Thanks, Lucy.
Thanks, Steve.
Sorry. I think our time is good so far. Thanks, John.
Just good leadership, that's all.
Oh, my God.
Hold on, I'm still.
It doesn't matter.
It's fine.
Cassie in there.
How often do we have to?
5 years.
Every 5 years. I think Kim did it last time with you, didn't you?
Yeah.
You ought to be paid for that, you and Andy.
Oh, it's her.
I know, she's like policy queen.
She had tests all around her last time.
It's so bad.
Oh, boy.
I think you drank beer. It's a lot better that way.
You hear me? Went to a closed session. Part of that now. Where are you meeting him? Or you just will figure it out? Yeah.
Thank you for calling Gilbert High School.
Tyler, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're not muted.
Okay. I'm just trying to get into the meeting.
I know, I just wanted to make sure you muted yourself before you got on the phone.
Okay, thanks, Cassie.
You're welcome.
Cassie and Tyler and Christine, I need you guys to exit the Zoom meeting and call in.
What am
Call
I?
in, what number?
We will call you.
Yeah, we'll call you guys.
We just need
Well,
Tyler.
the Zoom-
We just need Tyler.
We just need Tyler.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then 20
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give this back to Gil and hang up on you, not that I don't like him. There you go. He's zooming in, yeah.
Yeah, as well. Oh, good.
There you go.
Okay, Andrew, are we back?
I think so. Are we back? Jason,
I think so.
let's give it a second here just to make sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We got you, Tyler.
Loud and clear.
We can't see it, thank God, but we can hear you. Sorry.
Got a face for radio, so we're good.
That was a dad joke.
That was a good one.
It doesn't let me run the video, it looks like.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's fine. We're good.
We're good.
Now it should.
Give me the thumbs up, Jason, and we'll kind of get things rolling here again.
That wasn't that email we got from them, was it?
Okay.
Okay, I'm just trying to find the agenda.
Okay, go ahead.
7:11, back in open session.
All right, we are back, and next topic is open enrollment. I do kind of want to steer this conversation a little bit, because I want to start out by saying I don't want to change policy. I don't think that's right now is the time to change policy. You guys may have went through the list and saw we had an exceptional number of open enrollees that would want to come into the district for various reasons. But I don't want to have discussion go towards that changing our current board policy. What I would like the discussion maybe to go towards is if prior to COVID, if we had a student that was enrolled within this district and then opted out for whatever reason, would we look at that student any differently than we would look at per policy today? Because once you open enroll out, you're out. And then some of these students, we may want to come back in now, and do we treat COVID as like as Tyler had mentioned, maybe a mulligan? And Deb, policy princess there, what's your thoughts on that?
At first, his policies are. not
Sorry,
success,
right.
but,
Just rolls off the
I think I was given that, I
So-
think I was given that wrong, sorry. Okay, so the policy, right, as it's stated, like Lindsay had mentioned, when somebody makes a request to leave the district, they actually put in a request to submit, and they essentially cut ties with our district. Except for COVID, we never expect that they want to come back, right? I mean, and I'm not even saying except for COVID, we didn't know that they wanted to come back during COVID. Our policy specifically states that, and I'm reading from this policy, open enrollment requests into the school district will not be approved if insufficient classroom space exists as determined by the board in its application, right? We have a matrix and we have numbers. We have always just gone by those numbers. In past years, people have been declined with very compelling stories have been declined, but our policy is that we don't, it is black and white or cut and dry, specifically by design. So this would be, and we would not break policy. We don't go against our own policy here at Gilbert, but I think what you're mentioning is there an exception that you would want to draft? Or we would want to draft, and then we would have to be very specific. And we would have to understand that.
In the past, Deb, is people have people come to the board and wanted exceptions?
Yes. they
And
have
how often does that happen through the past years?
that I've been here never.
I mean, no, that people come,
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, that people come, but that we have gone against the policy.
you've never went against policy.
Well, right, there are periods of time, I believe when it's outside, and Lindsay, you can speak to this, but when it's outside of this window, there are very, very specific reasons when I
Good
believe
cause.
you can do that, and it's
Yep.
due cause.
Good.
A good cause, sorry, not too
That's
cause.
all right.
But we have not. We've had them come before and we have not. Each year, I believe we have people that are declined. People who submit on time in a timely manner, but then who just simply don't make it. And we typically, no, that's it. The matrix is black and white for a reason, because we like there's always reasons.
Okay.
And it's easier to go.
I had one question that isn't related, or it is related, but like, how negative does the open enrollment have to be before we add a teacher? So we can take more kids in? So I mean, so I'm just looking at the grades here, so we have like one is a -10, we have a -19,
Right.
-35, -25, -21. When do we say we would be willing to add?
Are those high school ones?
Well, they're all over.
They're all over. I'm just like, how far in the hole
Middle
does it get
school.
before we say we got room for them? You know, and I don't,
Yeah, we had done some work on that exact question, and I think basically what we're talking about is if there were about 2 to 3 additional students per section in a grade level. So really, we're talking about 10 to 15. So if when we go to the kindergarten, for example, and we have, you know, our ideal section is 100, right, for 5 sections. If we were sitting at 110, between 110, 115, we would start to entertain that, having that. And so we kind of, it's different as you go up, just because different grade levels can tolerate higher class sizes, but it's about 10 to 15 extra kids per grade level.
And that would be your kids that are here. So that then you would go from there.
Yeah.
Because we can bank on those, and we know those kids are here.
And then if you add that sixth section, then that would in turn change your open enrollment allowance, because now your multiplier is 6 as opposed to 5.
but these are your guys' recommendations that you didn't feel like we had enough that we would want to take that plunge and add a 6th section.
Yeah, I don't think there's anywhere right now. I mean, 7th grade, is that 19? That's the 7th.
Yeah,
grade.
negative
Yeah.
19 for
Seven.
7th grade.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's starting to get, you know, we're starting to get close to those numbers, especially some of those high school classes. For those, high school is the hardest
Yeah.
to.
So I agree with what you're saying, or I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree with it, because I don't like telling anybody they can't go to school here. So at what point, how does this process work? Who, do you and Lindsay and Carrie sit down and talk about this, or is it all the administrators sit down, look at this and say, I think that's maybe where John was trying to figure out too. Because if you're at 19 and you need 20, I'm gonna call timeout, you're close enough. Okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, what we have is, that's where we have our staffing priorities list. And so those are things, and matrix driven increases are always one of our first priorities that we
Okay.
would make before increasing other staff. So that is exactly, it's just we have not had the funding to fund additional staffing at this point in time,
Okay, so funding is always rear, right?
right?
So if we get those 19 kids and we get $7,000 a kid, we're gonna have that funding next year.
Well, those 19 kids are
They're
kids
here.
already here.
They're here. We're just-
That's
we're
a
just-
negative, that says
This
we
is
can't take any new
current.
kids.
Yeah, I mean, that means we got 19 over our ideal number.
I know.
And that's not next.
But
No.
then, so what if you added, say you like add 6 to that, then you would be at your ideal number, right?
We didn't
But we'd have to have the funding
Yes.
then, Gail, is we'd only have 6 kids worth of funding to match it, so
Yeah.
that's where the budget comes in.
Yeah.
Want to just make sure I understand.
Yeah,
I
me
actually
too.
have a math question. So let me look at this again, just joke, but, so, and I'm kind of talking myself through this, and if you can maybe tell me if I'm seeing this right or not. But, oh shoot, I'm gonna look down here. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull, that's what 3rd grade is, it's at the top of my sheet
Okay.
right here. It says that there's 5 sections. We have a total enrollment of 107. So if you divide that by 5, it's about 21 students, or a little over 21.
Right.
I did this on my
Just
own,
the
but
far right column.
yeah, there's ideal sections, ideal students per section is really what we're aiming for. But that has some padding, because there's a couple of numbers, right, that say, is that what we are going off of? We're looking at that. We have OE section limit, and then we have ideal students per section. If we do 24 times 5, that's 100. Just a minute. That's 120 students, right? And it says we have 107,
So you could have
so we could add 13, right?
Well, so what we do with how the matrix was developed is 24, when it says ideal, that's not, I mean, that's not an ideal class size. Ideal class size is probably close, but that's kind of that number that we're like, ooh, that's about as full as we would want a class right now. Now, obviously, we know sometimes we have to go past that, but so that's, and then the open enrollment, we deduct 2 off of that, and that's what that open enrollment, so that's
Is
where
it
you
because
get
we're trying to save in case people move into the district,
Yeah.
or is that it?
to
Okay.
accommodate for increases that are.
And
you know,
sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
Exactly, so that's where the 110 comes from, it's 5 times the 22.
Yeah, that's what, okay. I knew the math was right there, I was just wondering.
And you can see why there's more padding at different grade levels, so there's
Right.
less padding as you get to the high school than there is in the elementary intermediate.
And it's a little different, right, because you don't have students that go through every class, it's really a math.
Right.
Problem.
Cassie, one of the things that we ask you to do is to be a part of this, and I know that you're, I guess, tasked with the matrix and how that works. Do you want to add anything to what our conversation has been? Okay.
No, everything what Stacy said and how it's set up is correct.
And Cassie, real quick, if we went, how many students did we have enroll out of Gilbert last year? Just numbers, I don't need names or anything else. Enrolled out of Gilbert last year because of COVID reasons, that are now wanting to get back this year that you know of. Now, I'm not pulling, I mean, obviously there may be more out there that you know of. Do you have any answer for that?
I can only think of when the state of Iowa had extended that for that remote section, for kids that wanted to open enroll out to some of those online schools like Des Moines and Cam Academy, and I think there was one other. We had 2 current students, 2 current families that did.
Okay.
And then I believe only one ended up going. So very small amount.
Okay. Same question. Do you know of any that enrolled out for homeschool reasons? That now want that were open enrollees in and then all of a sudden went back out for homeschooling reasons?
I don't think there was any current open enrolled that went out to homeschool. Not any that were current open enrolled.
Got it.
We had we had resident district students that did choose to homeschool, whether it be with our homeschool assistance program or an independent.
Okay.
I feel like I don't need to grill anybody, but I'm just trying to get this right in my head. So of all of the folks that were open enroll, that when they left, couldn't just come back because of them being resident students. There's only 2 families or 1 family?
2 families, but she said, I think
That actually did.
that actually did, yeah, there was only 1 family that actually did it. is what she
And
said.
so coming back in, I thought there were 2 families, so.
That's what I thought too. Cassie, is there 2 families that are trying to come back in?
We had a circumstance where it was a current student,
Resident, and maybe
a current student that exited as a resident student, moved over the summer, and then they're coming back in.
So now they're trying to come back in. You got it. They
Okay.
were in the district
I'm sorry.
here and then
Thank
they
you.
moved out in the last
Ooh.
year.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, obviously, open enrollment is a big topic that we're gonna be spending a lot of time on, I think, in the next 6 months. I don't necessarily know if we can make any, I don't wanna make any changes tonight to the policy. Again, I kinda wanna bring it back to it. Is there a discussion to make an exception?
I'll make a motion to accept.
One second, go ahead, Tyler.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt John, but I would be in favor of an exception. I think COVID, there was many things going on, and especially if it's in the case where there was a decision for virtual. I certainly think as long as we're clear on why the exception was made, I'd be supportive of an exception. The other comment on open enrollment, I would agree. We need to have a good long dialogue because I look at the kindergarten, and I know Stace, we've had these conversations before, but there's 8 that are denied by lack of space. And at some point we need to get to the 6th section and we need to grow the district with that. And I think our district proved last year that we could successfully maneuver a very difficult year, and there's lots of people interested, and I'm with Jeff. I don't like denying folks from being in our school district. So that's for another night, but I'm supportive of an exception for the students that were caught in the COVID mix.
Can you put that in a motion, Tyler, since you did it so well?
We have to make an exception based upon COVID for the students that were involved in making a quick decision on virtual and now would like to be back in our district.
Second.
Make a quick comment again. There's some students that were enrolled within Gilbert, and then made a decision to leave Gilbert because of COVID for reasons in the last year, and now want to come back in the district, and those students only. Is that fair to say that, just to repeat it?
Right.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Tyler?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. And on to the next topic, financial report summary, Gail.
Andrew, I'm probably going to need to drop off for a webinar, so I apologize, but thanks everybody for.
I'm glad we got you in here, Tyler. Appreciate your
Thanks,
time.
Tyler.
Bye, Christine. Bye, Mike. I can see you guys. So, all right.
Andrew, then do we need to approve that other listing as well?
I think that'll be back within the consent agenda. Is that correct, Gail?
We moved the whole thing.
Oh, the whole thing up. Oh, so you're right. My apologies. I apologize for that. So then we'll make a motion to approve.
And Tyler just left.
Okay,
Okay.
which is fine.
Does that matter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But he made the motion, so yeah, we probably.
No, this is a separate motion, so this would be to approve the remaining open enrollment recommendations outside of those.
Based off like that.
Based off the matrix. and the
I'll make that motion.
Right, so it'll be including those two.
And I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion passed. Now,
So.
financial reports.
Okay. So overall, there's quite a bit of green here, as you can see. Our revenues are just lagging a little bit on property taxes, and a little bit of timing that is going on with the collection of reimbursements from the state. But overall, our revenues are lagging, but our expenditures are below budget. So overall, we have a year-to-date gain of 152,910. Other than our revenue and our expenditures are way below. So we are really on target and looking really good going into the revenue is at 81.6% of an overall could be at 83.33 for the 12-month budget. So revenue is pretty well on track. And our expenditures are way below, but we know that coming into June, July, and August, those months are big months. So it will, that 68.99% will grow at a larger rate as we go forward into the end of the fiscal year. So the a little bit about property taxes, COVID expenses, they are slowing down. We did get notification that our Sr3 funds will be available starting June 1st. And so here's the total Sr3 allocation is $240,539. 20% will be addressing the learning loss, which there has to be a plan for that. And the administration is working on that. And the remaining funds are available for the above expenses that we've already incurred in the, we have incurred year to date 239,000, and the remaining funds available for reimbursement, we have 192,431. So
But
that,
part of that 240, you can move it around and it could cover the whole 239 that we have.
we cannot. Of that 240, 48,000 has to be set aside to deal with the learning loss.
Summer school.
Yeah, as I said, what is that?
So it's earmarked.
Earmark, yeah. So we've got.
Now, that 48 could be more, but it cannot be less than 48.
So we have 192.
92 to address our needs above that we've already expensed out. So, and if you think about where we were at the beginning, thinking we weren't gonna get anything, and then now, I mean, there's still talk that there's possibly another possibility of additional funds, who knows, but considering we thought we were gonna have to build this into our budget with nothing, it's a better scenario than what we started the year with. So as we go into the secretary's report, on April 28th, we had our bond sale. So we have 4.4 million in our bank account just sitting there, accruing, the really good interest rate that's going on right now. But the bond sale, the callables are June 1, so they will be automatically applied to our debt. I think it's May 27th, they actually come out of our bank account. So we have them sitting in there for a few days. And so that is completely done and over. And with that, we will have I needed to republish the budget amendment. So we will have a new hearing and approval on Monday, May 24th to amend the budget for the sale of those bonds. And then there's been some additional purchases. I think when you hire new people, and this is what we're seeing, Brent's doing a very tremendous job. He's doing very well. But with that comes, he needs equipment and he needs things to do his job. So we've been, I know you guys were in the process of buying, notified of the John Deere tractor. Is that right?
Yep.
Or tractor, I don't know. And the sprayer. So we also had a bus inspection, which also we had bus repairs, ongoing computer license subscriptions. And this is the time of the year where we're renewing some of those things. And we also are in our windstorm damage claims. And so we are still ongoing with this. And it is a slow go with this claim. Trying to get contractors to come and complete works. We have quotes and we have everything we need. It's just to actually get them physically to do the work and submit an invoice and to submit a claim. We had a certain payout, and now we have to go back and submit our actual bills to see was the payout enough, and to basically find out if we need more additional funds for the payout. So that's an ongoing, that was August 10th. So that's hard to believe that before long it'll be a year ago. We're continuously working on that. Activity funds we're keeping track of those to come through as the year gets closer to June 30th. And the nutrition fund, I just wanted to celebrate that, we are getting closer. And Deb has, in her report, she addressed some things that were going on. And, I really have every expectation that we will be able to do this, to pay back the general fund with everything in place. We are pretty dang close compared to, just a month ago, we were at 17.7, now we're just short of 18. So really close. So I just wanted to celebrate the progress that is going. At the end of the month, this is the time when we are contacting people to pay their meal accounts, staff and students to, pay on their accounts coming to the close of the end of the school year. And so, because once they leave, it's really hard to get them. That's what we found out back in March when COVID hit, the uncertainty. And that's what Lindsay and I have been working with Department of Nutrition. They wanted to know, why didn't you collect the funds? And, the idea back in March, people didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't pay their negative balances. They didn't even know they weren't going to come back to school. There was so much uncertainty. That was probably the last thing on their mind about, I need to pay that negative lunch account. So we're dealing with them. We had to show we're making progress. We're gonna relook at our
processes and what we have in place. We're gonna work with Deb or Dahl on that, to make sure we can do a better job at that. Oh, Deb, I'm sorry, Deb Purcell.
I was like,
I always
oh,
do that. I'm probably getting emails from me, so. That's like-
You have to promote it as a look at all your good policy work.
Super board member.
When I email it, I put Deb, and I know once in a while it's right. But overall, we are, heading into the stretch of the end of the fiscal year. So lots of activities are gonna be happening between now and then, the end of June. But overall, we are looking, I am so much more optimistic than I was. It was so scary back when we started this whole process of COVID and the expenses and where we're at with the ESSER and the funds. So feeling so much better than what we started the year at. And, but overall.
Good.
Yeah, and I just want to mention that in the list of bills that are in there, you probably noticed some negatives. We have been doing some cleanup at the end of the year. So there's some outstanding warrants that weren't cashed. We sent out letters and outstanding checks that people didn't. So in the bills, I just wanted to mention the negatives basically are just a cleanup that people did not cash their checks. And the process we do is we send out a letter saying, here's your options. Was this a mistake? Do you want it reissued? Sign this and return it and let us know what, and you have a certain time to do that. And if they don't, then we just void it. If they don't respond back. So I just wanted these three down here. And officials are whether maybe the game got canceled that we didn't know about, things like that. So I just want to mention that happened. You see these negative amounts. We're doing cleanup for the end of the year and avoiding some checks. So other than that, I don't have anything else.
Looks good. I don't have any questions. Anybody else have any questions? All right, Gail, thank you as always.
Yes, thank you.
Consent agenda, anything need to be pulled out, discussed?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda passed. Calendar, graduation, May 23rd. Deb, you will be there, 2 o'clock.
In the crowd.
In the crowd.
Yes, in the crowd.
As a mom,
Yes.
we do have a Zoom meeting, May 24th.
Yep.
Again, it'll just be a quick 2-minute Zoom meeting for a budget amendment hearing. So again, put that on your calendars. We need 3 there. Go
Can
ahead.
I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Would anybody be opposed if we would add those second reading of the policies to that agenda?
Oh, no, I'm not opposed to that at all.
Does it have to be 30
So I'm not gonna be on
days?
it.
Never mind.
Never mind.
Sorry.
Try, Deb.
You can add new ones.
Oh,
We need 30
let's see if
days
we have
between
one.
the first reading and the second reading.
6, then 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, yep. Like I said, it'll be Zoom. No one needs to be here.
I won't be around.
I know, Jeff. I know. June 3rd, employee recognition, as Lindsay mentioned before, retirement reception. Deb, you and I will be there.
Yeah.
June 14th, last regular board meeting for Lindsay Beecher here at 6 o'clock as superintendent. And then July 12th will be the first board meeting with our new superintendent, Christine. That's all I got.
That's enough.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Bye.
All right, meeting adjourned.
7:15.